Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, this just happened. Trump may have just alluded as to who he's considering to be his possible vice presidential pick in the 2024 election. Now, I'm sure all the Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis shills out there are probably frustrated with that statement. How could he possibly be picking his VP? The primary race is still on. All right, sure, yeah. Maybe in your fantasy land that's the case. In reality, I mean, this thing is pretty much over. Trump has won. He will be the nominee. Unless something crazy happens, he's pretty much the guy. Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, probably even if he's been sentenced in some of these bogus cases. So a popular topic of discussion and debate has been who is he going to pick as his VP. Clearly, Mike Pence wasn't the right pick. I think at the time he was making a play to get evangelicals and maybe have a little bit of a connection with neocons. But the landscape's different in 2024. Who's he going to pick? Well, he might have given us the answer during this moment with Maria Bartiromo. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Let's get into the speculation and let's talk about this specific VP pick and their potential. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, take a look right over here. President Trump hinted at a potential 2024 running mate during a sit-down interview with Fox News anchor Maria Bartiromo. So I haven't really made up my mind. Trump said of potential VP picks, is there anyone on that stage that you see as a potential running mate as your VP? Maria Bartiromo asked Trump, referring to Tucker Carlson's presidential forum, where he interviewed 5 candidates including Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Mike Pence. And here's what Trump had to say.
You say, why would you be doing a debate? It's actually not fair. Why would you let somebody that's at 0 or at 1 or 2 or 3, be popping you with questions?
Well, I mean, do you see any risk that if you don't show up, Ron DeSantis has a good night and it cuts into your lead?
Or somebody else has a good night and cuts into his lead. Because that's what's happening. He's going down and a couple of them are going up. I think Vivek has done a very good job, frankly. I think some others have done a good job. So I haven't really made up my mind.
Is there anyone on that stage you see as potential running mate as your VP?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think you have some good people on the stage, actually. I think you have some very talented people. I've been impressed by some of them. Some of them I'm very friendly with, actually. A number of them called me up, not to ask for permission, but sort of to ask for permission, to say they'd like to do it. A number of the people up there, I'm not going to embarrass them by saying who, but no, I think you have good people. I think you have good potential cabinet members too, actually.
There's honestly only 2 names that I think could possibly be considered here when referring to the individuals on the stage. First being, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy, and second, Tim Scott. I don't think Tim Scott would be very popular with the base, but look, it's possible. The guy's got experience, and whether the voters like him or not, Trump seems to like Tim Scott. And don't worry, I'm not forgetting Carrie Lake. We'll probably discuss her a little bit later. But I think the one guy who's got all the attention on him right now, and honestly I think he's really interviewing for the job of VP, is Vivek. And Trump said at the start there when he was answering the question that he's been very impressed with Vivek, and then went on to say that there are some very good people on that stage. He said that he's impressed with some of those people and he's considering them as possible VP choices, that even a couple of those individuals have essentially interviewed for the position, calling him personally directly and expressing their interest for being his possible running mate. He said that he was impressed by some of those individuals, but seconds before that said that he was directly impressed by Vivek Ramaswamy. I think right now Vivek is leading the charge. I think Vivek also checks every single box that you could imagine. The guy's a scholar, he's incredibly intelligent, an amazing debater, full of energy, private sector experience, and most importantly, he is a walking, talking personification or embodiment of the Democrats' worst nightmare. I mean, first of all, let's talk about diversity. Not forced diversity, but real diversity. It's a pretty diverse cast out there. Vivek Ramaswamy, an Indian man, Tim Scott, a black man, Nikki Haley, an Indian woman, to name a few, and probably the top contenders to be Donald Trump's VP is Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Carrie Lake. Not exactly the old white male racist Republican Party that leftists love to pretend exists, but clearly it doesn't. If Donald Trump is such a terrible, evil, white man racist, why is it that he's most likely at this point in time, or at least he's most impressed by an Indian American, Vivek Ramaswamy, and also leaning towards possibly picking Tim Scott, or a woman VP like Kari Lake. Pretty much right there, leftists lose the racism argument. Actually, it's kind of ironic if you think about it, because Vivek Ramaswamy is getting where he is by pure skill, media prowess, intelligence, nothing but qualifications across the board. Meanwhile, the Democrats picked Kamala Harris because, well, reasons. Just to be a token figure for the woke left. Really shows the difference now, doesn't it? Between affirmative action and actual empowerment of minority Americans. Vivek Ramaswamy is everything the liberals hate because he is, in fact, that empowered minority. He's an Indian American who refuses to play the victim card or the racism card, and they hate it because of moments like this on The Breakfast Club.
I mean, just look at the history of the country. Like, it's just really just that simple for me. The country has never fulfilled its promises of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. It's always been freedom, liberty, and justice for some. And usually that some is white people.
So here's what I would say in response to that. That is obviously true that the nation has fallen short of our promise since our founding. But walk through some obvious facts about America. We're not founded on an ethnicity or a monarch or a food or even a religion. We're founded on a set of ideals that brought a group of people together in 1776, and we live by those ideals. At least we aspire to those ideals today. A nation that aspires to ideals that's not made up of gods, but made up of human beings, will always fall short of those ideals. So I think our worst hypocrisies as a country, and we have many of them, our worst hypocrisies are our best evidence that we have ideals at all. You take a look at other countries. Nobody ever calls the Chinese Communist Party a hypocrite, or China a hypocrite, or Iran a hypocrite. Why is that? Because to be a hypocrite, you at least had to have ideals in the first place.
But a lot of
so we're imperfect, but we are about the pursuit of a more perfect union, the pursuit of happiness. America's about the pursuit. And so I think that trashing ourselves, I think we are actually.
I say that is because, we never were included in those ideals originally.
Originally.
Yeah.
But never and not originally are two different things. Originally, that's true. Over 250 years of progress, if you had somebody who was in 1870 looking at the world we live in today, if you had somebody in 1960 who was looking at the world we live in today as it relates to race in America, we would be darn close to what they would have thought of as the promised land. So I think we have to recognize that America is about that pursuit. We're a lot further along than we were 250 years ago.
Guys like Vivek are the Democrats' worst nightmare for that exact reason. I mean, just go in the Breakfast Club comment section there. He was really winning over some hearts and minds. I gotta say, I really like the guy, and of course I really like Kari Lake, but I'm not sure Kari Lake should be the VP. I really think that she should run for Kyrsten Sinema's Senate seat in Arizona. I think that would be far more valuable. And another thought that I have is that Vivek is doing everything that he's doing, not to be president, but to actually land as VP. I think that's his endgame. I don't think he wants to take down Donald Trump. I don't think it's the same, Ron DeSantis kind of angle that we're seeing, where Ron is essentially betraying the man who made him, refuses to say his name, and now his entire campaign is crashing and burning. And I'm not saying that because I don't like the guy. I just don't like his decision to run. I think he's a great governor, but I think the timing was wrong, and he's honestly totally out of his depth in this campaign. Vivek, on the other hand, has been truly authentic, and he's been willing to stand by Donald Trump. He's been willing to name him specifically and defend him. And this tells me two things. Either he's very honest and he's just going to do the right thing regardless of whether or not the person that he's defending is his direct competition in the primary season, or what it tells me is that he's essentially interviewing for the job, that he's making it clear that he's on Trump's side, not just because it's the right thing to do, but politically he wants to align himself with Donald Trump and possibly end up as the vice president if all goes well in 2024. And it seems like regardless of what he's thinking, well, it's pretty much working. In the straw poll at TPUSA's conference just the other day, Vivek actually came in second, right below Donald Trump.
So, the straw poll results, and there's a lot of detail to this, I'll tell you, but I don't think it's a huge surprise. But the winner of the straw poll with 85%, Donald J. Trump, is the winner of the Turning Point Action straw poll. But the interesting question is who won? If not Trump, who would your next choice be? And the conventional wisdom would be, well, it would be the governor of Florida or Nikki Haley or Mike Pence. In the second place, if not, or who would you choose as your second choice? with 50% Vivek Ramaswamy.
I mean, regardless of what you think of him, he is running an incredible campaign. I mean, with pennies and barely any access compared to what Ron DeSantis is running with. But he's authentic. He's showing up on all the shows. He's showing up on shows and in places where the audience is vehemently anti-Trump and totally partisan Democrat. And he's absolutely killing it on every media tour that he's been on so far. He's even developing a little bit of star power. I mean, at the TPUSA event, the people couldn't get enough of him. And it's really no surprise at all when you're taking stances like this.
When these agencies from the Department of Education to the FBI to the ATF to the IRS shouldn't have never existed in the first place, we will not just reform them, we will shut them down. That is what it means to live in a constitutional republic.
Well, then what's not to like? I think Trump is seriously considering Vivek as a potential running mate. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a good idea. Trump says he's been impressed by him. I find Vivek to be incredibly impressive. I think he's run an amazing campaign so far. And I think overall it's a trend in the right direction. But most importantly, on videos like this, I'm curious what you guys think in the comments section. I know a lot of people are going to be mentioning the WEF connection, which I think is totally overblown, and Vivek's already explained it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Who do you think should be Trump's VP, and who do you think he's leaning towards? That's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.